Hey everyone, Cody Bill here. Today I want to talk to you about tactical pins. Now, there's a number of people that kind of make fun of the whole concept of a tactical pin. You know, what's so tactical about a pin, right? And when you got a knife at least, if not a gun or something, what's the point? Well, there's a couple reasons why. First off, it's a pin. It's a pin. Everybody, I think, should be carrying a pen on them all the time because they just come in handy. You never know, you need to write something down. And the thing is, these clips here will accommodate thick fabric. I wear jeans a lot or cargo shorts, for example, and regular ballpoint pens, like this right here, this clip will break off if I try and stick it in the pocket of my jeans. I've had it happen before, and that's why I used to never carry a pen. And I found myself always needing a pen. So I got a tactical pen because it'll stay clipped in. It's an actual, spring steel clip, so it's not going to break off. It's made for that. So that's kind of the biggest reason I say is because it's pen, and if you don't necessarily wear shirts with a pocket in them or want to carry pins in your shirt pocket, you don't really have another way of carrying a pen unless you just stick it down in your pocket, which I don't really like to have a bunch of junk just loose in my pockets. So that's the first reason. The second reason is just, you may find yourself in a situation where you need something that can multiply your force, I guess so to say, without being lethal. Maybe you just want to perhaps subdue somebody, but you don't want to kill them or even really risk killing them. Well, this could be your option. You can use it for what's called a kubaton. So you can use it for basically blunt force, blunt strikes. You can hit them in the side of the neck, side of the thigh, although the side of the neck can knock them out. If you use it the right way, it can actually be a lethal weapon. It may not be non-lethal, but it's gonna hurt a lot more than just a fist because it's a lot harder, and it's not just, the force isn't spread out over such a large area. You can use that end or that end, and this is just one example of a tactical pen. A lot of them look very different. The point is, different. You got some options there, whereas you don't necessarily want to pull out a knife and stab somebody. Maybe you just need to get them to calm the heck down. But maybe you're kind of a smaller guy, they're a bigger person. Maybe they just don't. They're not responding to you very well. Who knows? I know that Uzi, I believe it is, they have one or two tactical pins that on the back end here it's kind of scalloped, and I believe they call it a DNA catcher. So someone's attacking you and maybe that's just what you have. You hit them with that and there you go. You've got some DNA in there, and maybe if they get away, well, you can still take that to the cops and they can have that on file so that perhaps they can match it to somebody. It may not be quite that simple, but it's something. And the thing is, it's just an extra weapon. The thing is, these cost almost nothing. And yeah, you can get a knife for the same price as one of these, but it's going to be a piece of junk, and you can't write with a knife. Now, while you should be carrying a knife as well, since you can't cut stuff with a pen, yeah, it's just a good idea to have both, in my opinion. For example, you could be in an area. It's kind of like some people say, why carry a tactical knife if you can carry a gun? Well, you may be in an area where you're not allowed to carry a gun. There's a number of areas like that. Most schools, you can't carry a gun. In fact, most schools, you can't even have a knife. You're not supposed to. Now, you're not likely to get caught with one unless you do something stupid, but that's not the point. If you want to abide by the law, then you're not going to have a knife. And maybe you don't want to be totally defenseless, So here's your option. Here's an option, I should say. Um, People, they're very discreet. People claim, some people have talked about how you can get them onto airplanes because they're just a pin. I've also heard a number of people talk about running into problems because most of the people, um, at TSA and whatnot, they recognize these things, and so they can tell. Well, it's not just a pin. So I'm not sure about that. I haven't tried to take one of these on an airplane. Some people say that you can do it. Some people say no, they'll catch you anyway because they know what it is. But if you can, well, then there you go. And if not, honestly, you just lose what, a $10 or $20 pin at most. So you're not out too much. But if they do let you through, then hey, you're not totally defenseless. You got something at least. If I don't know, someone, assuming they're not armed with a gun, but let's say someone tries to start a fight or something, that can happen anywhere. Another reason I think that it's a good idea to carry these, or that at least I carry these, is because it also functions as a glass breaker. This one is it's not a super obvious tip, but it does have a point right there on that end. This one, it's much more obvious. It's got a point there. A number of them may have a actual carbide tip for glass breaking, but most of them have some sort of pointed end that can be used for breaking glass. If you could be in a car wreck, and maybe you don't have a way out, you got to break a window. Some people, maybe if you're kind of small framed, maybe you're injured or something, you don't have a lot of strength, so you may not be able to break a window any other way to get out. So that could be, you may need to do that. That could be all you have, but at least you have it if you're carrying one of these. If you say, well, those are stupid, I don't need one of those, well, you just may find yourself in that situation. Yes, there are other things available. There are several knives that have a glass breaker on them, other tools that you can mount in your car, for example, that are specifically made for that, but maybe you don't want that. You don't want something that costs that much or whatever. This will do it. So basically, those are my reasons why I think tactical pins are actually not a bad idea. They're not silly. So, moving on. These particular ones, here, I'll talk about this one first. It says, it's a little tricky to say exactly what brand it is. I really don't know how to say it. It's LAIX is what it says on the pin. I can tell you that when you order it, it comes through VK Tech. It's listed on Amazon as a VK Tech tactical aviation aluminum pin, blah, blah, blah. I know that when you get it, it takes like a month to ship, and it comes from some obscure part of China. So big surprise there, because it costs, I think when I got this one, it cost me about $5.50 or $6, somewhere around that range. This particular one is 6¼ inches long, so it's actually a little on the long side. I do like how slender it is. It's not real thick. It's kind of streamlined. Some people would say, well, it doesn't have a lot of grip to it. That's true. It's not heavily textured like this one is. But I don't know. I find that I can get a decent grip on it. I've never had to employ it as a glass breaker or self-defense tool, but actually I guess that's not entirely true. But I haven't. It doesn't seem slick per se. It's just anodized aluminum. It's pretty smooth, but like I said, I don't feel that it's too smooth that you can't get a grip on it. And I gotta be honest, my hands sweat a lot, so I'm always holding it with sweaty hands, basically. So yeah, 6¼ inches long, so a little on the long side. Gets kind of annoying sometimes in jeans, depending on what pair I'm wearing. If I go to sit down, it'll push on the bottom end and try to push it out of my pocket. When I got it, I thought it was smaller than this. it was my fault. I didn't read the dimensions. They were listed right there, but I didn't read them. Let's see. It writes very well. I really love the way it writes. This particular one, it's got a, I don't know, it's a very fine point, nice, I guess, gel refill in there. Oh, and as for refills, I don't believe it takes any standard refill. It doesn't take a any of the normal ones out there. I thought it did because it looks like it does. I tried to do that, found out no, it doesn't. Did some looking, and apparently you can modify it to take standard refills, but it won't take any of the normal ones as is. It comes apart into entirely too many pieces, I gotta be honest. I'm not really sure why. So, you've got the cap, I guess the first end comes off there. There's your ink cartridge. Then this piece comes off, and I'm not sure why. I don't know why that can't just be one piece. Then this piece comes off. Ah, that noise. And I'm not sure why that comes off either. I have no idea. There you go. So, not really sure why they thought that was a good idea. I don't know. Not that it really matters too much. But anyway, like I said, it writes very well. I like how slender it is, and it's a little more discreet than a lot of your other ones, which even for people who don't really know about tactical pens, they can still look at it and say, something's different about that. You know, doesn't look like a pen, whereas this pretty much does. For the most part, it just looks like a metal, kind of a fancy metal pen. In reality, it's actually a very cheap tactical pen. The clip, I do like the clip on this. For some reason, this one says RM on it. This is the second one of these that I've had because I lost the first one. The first one didn't say that. It was just a nice, smooth, mirror polished clip. No idea why that says that there. Yeah, so there's the glass breaker end. This, well, you can use either end, I suppose, for if you needed to strike somebody. You can also use these for joint locks, but I'm not really trained with joint locks, so I wouldn't be able to actually do that in some sort of a combat scenario. Oh, these come in black, green, and pink. I will have the links to both of these on Amazon, by the way, in the description. However, this one, it currently says it's not available. So no idea what that means. Like I said, I'll put the link in the description anyway, just in case they get it back, but you know, unavailable. So they don't know if they're ever getting any more of these. Like I said, somewhere around $5 or $6 is what this cost me. But I do like it. I carry this one essentially every day, and it's come in handy quite a lot as a pen, not as really anything else. Fits my hand very nicely. So that's that one. As for this one, it also says LAIX on it. Also sold by VK Tech, listed as basically the same thing. VK Tech Tactical Aviation Aluminum Pen, or something along those lines. I don't know. This one is 5 1/4 inches long, so a little shorter, which is good. This is a pretty good good length. It's very chunky though. It's thicker than I expected it to be. Kind of too thick for my hands. Not incredibly so, but it's just a little obnoxious to write with. But I have medium-sized hands. I wear size medium gloves. They fit me perfectly. So, a little on the chunky side for me, but I don't know. It's not too bad. This uses, let's see if I can, there we go. It just uses a, wow, my mind just went blank. I don't know, one of these refills. Here's your spring. It's got a little rubber gasket there for friction. It does, so this one bears a resemblance to one of the Uzi tactical pens, at least in my opinion it does. And on those, you can unscrew this sort of end cap, and it's got a handcuff key connected to it. On this one, it doesn't. It's got a little thing in there. I don't know if you got the right one. You might be able to fit a little handcuff key down in there, maybe, but I don't know. Haven't tried. So that's that. Put this sucker back together. I have carried this one a number of times. I used to carry it to work at one of my jobs because I had to wear all black pants, and so it blended in a lot better than that other one. Yeah, this one runs about the same price. I will also have the link to it in the description. This comes in black, gold, and they call it gray. The third color, it looks like silver to me. It's also just anodized aluminum. It's kind of worn off some there. The diamond texture here, it's not overly sharp, but it is still pretty rough. So if you tried carrying it in a shirt pocket, aside from the weight and length of this thing, it would probably tear it up. Dress pants, probably the same thing. It would tear it up over time. I didn't have a problem with that when I carried it, but I was wearing pants with pretty thick fabric, so I kind of knew that wouldn't be an option. This one doesn't actually ride all that well. This particular one, I think it's just the specific refill that's in there, but it's just a standard ballpoint. I also prefer a much finer pen, kind of like this one when I'm writing. So yeah, those are those two, and my reasons for owning a tactical pen. I will say that the best tactical pen I ever owned just so happened to be the first one I got. It was a DPMS tactical pen. I got it several years ago on what was it, remingtoncountry.com, I think it is. It was on clearance. There are 3 different styles. They have fluted, checkered, and dimpled. That's what they called them. And the checkered and dimpled ones were both like this, and they had a screw-off cap, which I do not prefer, by the way. I just personally don't like it. And I read all the reviews, and everything said they were a piece of crap. The fluted one was more similar to this in that, it had the same twist style action and all, and everyone said that it was a great pen. So I got one of those, told my dad about it. He actually got 2 of them, and then I lost it after about a year. And I tried to go back and see if I could find it anywhere, and it's like there's almost no trace of them ever existing online. Almost. I could find like one place that even references them, and it's got a link to what it used to be on Amazon, but it's a link that goes to nothing because they're not there. So if anyone happens to find the DPMS fluted tactical pen, find out where you can get one of those, please let me know. They're great. Like I said, it had a twist style action like this, but it was thinner than this. It wrote really well, had a really nice heft to it. So if anyone happens to find that, please let me know. So yeah, these are just 2 of the options out there. Like I said, they happen to be the same brand because they were really cheap, and at the time I got them, the only other tactical pens I could find online that even remotely interested me were 20, 30, 40 bucks, or even more sometimes, and I didn't want to pay that. Now a number of them have gone down, but there's a lot of good ones out there. It just kind of depends on, they're pens. They're freaking pens, So it really just depends on your personal preference. So that's it for today. Just let me know what you guys think.